Hello, this is David Shahadi, and today I'm going to talk about something I feel really important to me, maybe to you too. Hey, cheers. I'm having my coffee with my marketing work cup, sitting at the office. And today I want to ask you a question. Do you ever feel like breaking down? Do you ever feel like you don't belong in this place we call Earth? You belong like to another planet from somewhere else, and this is not the world you live. Or do you feel like really no one understands you? Like so many people out there, they're just trying to explain, but they don't understand. And do you feel like you deep down inside you don't understand this world? It's like you must be from out space somewhere or a different planet, you know? Do you sometimes lock yourself in a room? You know, there's so many people feel depressed and feel down for many, many reasons. Some of the reason is perhaps one of their family members, their father, their husband, their kid, drive them crazy, and they just don't understand and trying to help them out, and they just don't get it, and just going crazy. And some of them, many, many reasons. They go to work every single day and back and forth, and they don't really see them moving forward. They're still like stuck in their place. They're not moving much further forward. And so it's pretty normal to feel depressed these days, and especially when you check out the news or read the paper or go online to see what's going on. Any person can feel depressed these days. Hey, believe me, it happens to me all the time. Or do you feel like you're trying to find the loved ones in your life, but you're just unable to find the right one, and you don't want to be alone, you don't want to grow old by yourself? There's so many reasons why people don't run away from it all. There's many reasons, they're all humanly possible reasons. But we can't do that. We can't give up. Like, I'll tell you a story about this elephant, okay? A man was walking by a huge area where they have big, huge elephant tied with a thin, thin rope to trees. And the elephant were just sitting there, and they were not doing anything, they were not even moving forward, and they were just simply sitting and giving up when they really easily could break away and break the whole tree down and run away. But they don't. And so this man was very, very surprised. And around there he saw a man who was a trainer, and he asked him, why is this? And the trainer told him, because when they were a kid, he trained them, when they were little kid elephants, he trained them, and he put a little rope, very small rope, to a tree, tied them with their leg, and they tried a couple of times and they could not move. So now when they grow older, they tie them in the same rope, not a chain, nothing, not a big rope, the same kind of rope, and they just are not breaking out. Is it because they were conditioned? They were conditioned to give up. They tried when they're very young, and they're conditioned to not do anything. And that's really sad, because the human beings are the same way. So many people, I know of quite a few people, and maybe you know some too, that they just give up. They give up on life. They tried certain things, it didn't work out. They tried again sometimes, and sometimes they try again, and it didn't, and they just give up. You can't give up. Life is nothing but a trials and error. You got to keep going and pushing and pushing and pushing. Even if you don't make it, at least you keep pushing and pushing and pushing until you have no more push in you. And the time you have no push in you is the time you're dead. Like, that's it. Your heart stops. That's when you have no push. As long as you're alive, there is always a way. Now, there's a way to break out of this. I would say that, do you remember, like for me, like I remember the highest high in my life. When I feel down, I move myself to a zone that I felt so good about everything in my life. Like one of them is when I first got my solo in Canada, my airplane solo. I was very young. I was 24, and I got my own first solo. I did very, very well, and I was singing all the way up there at 3,000 feet. And I was so happy and content and confident, and all the confidence, all the stuff, that hormone that kid can have at the time with feeling good and know what they're doing, and I was feeling great. And that zone I never forget that zone. So when I feel down, I put myself in that zone, and I feel really good. Also, second zone is when I had my first kid, when I was doing Lamaze, and when he was born, I felt, wow, there's a purpose there, there's a miracle. And it gives me a certain joy that, man, I am here for something. I am here to raise a life or lives or whatever God is giving me. So you can take the zone when you feel down, when you feel like depressed, when you feel you want to run away from it all. Just get in that zone, take whatever zone happened to you, the time that you felt so high, the highest high, put yourself in that zone. The more you put yourself in the zone, the better you feel. And sometimes, I know, we kind of, people see you and say, how you doing? And you say, oh, I'm doing great. When you feel down, like you're crying inside you, and you feel that you really don't feel like saying you're feeling great, but it's okay to feel great, because all of us, sometimes we need to feel better. So when you say great, you're simply telling your subconscious mind to make you great. So your subconscious mind, as I said before, doesn't know real from imagine. So if you feel miserable and somebody asks you, you say great, before you know it, you'll feel great. Believe me, it works every time. I try it all the time. It works. So might as well. What do you want to think? Oh, I'm miserable, I cry, Like, I know these people, they say, we get sick every July the 1st. We all get sick. Like, they convince themselves that they get sick every July the 1st. It's like there's a big bug there waiting until July the 1st comes in to get in, and they get sick. That's because they convince themselves. You see, that's how the subconscious mind works. They convince themselves that they get sick. On the contrary, I don't get sick. I rarely get sick. In fact, really, if I do like one day that the flu get me for one day and get me, because every time I feel down, I feel like I want to get sick, I say to myself, no, go to my neighbor, he welcome you. I am not available for you. I'm not going to get sick. And I talk to myself, guess what? I get some rest that night, and second day, 99% of the time, I feel good. I am serious. I try this all the time. If you don't believe me, try it. But convince yourself. You got to believe it's going to happen to you. Again, you're going to believe it happened to you. So your power, your mind is very powerful. Your thoughts, you got to change your thoughts. That's one of the element that you got to do when you feel depressed. Change your thought. Share goals, create goals, and share them with the friends. And thoughts is very, very powerful, guys. We're going to go back and back and go back and get and around that thought, because thoughts is pretty much everything. If you change your thoughts, you can change your mind, you can change your life, There's actually a book says if you change your thoughts, you change your life too. So it's very important to think positive, to kind of take whatever mess out there and convert it into something good. You can take anything and inside out and outside out. You can reshape things, be creative. You can shape it in such a way that makes your life more interesting and more exciting. And that's what life is supposed to be, right? So you command your own life. We command our own lives, so why might as well try to be creative and make our life more interesting? Like I'm right now trying to make it interesting. I'm talking to you, and I have a few people actually called me and they told me I changed their life. They heard one thing or two things and they used it and they really feel good. I did this before the videos also. I've done this before, on one-on-one basis. And so if I change one person's life, I feel much happier, because you know what? The true happiness is to make other people happy. And I want to make you happy. Thank you for being here this week. Until next week, be happy and just don't let anything bother you. Keep going. I got faith in you. David Shahadi out. Thank you.